I sang this opera. He wouldn't go to it. And I had to hit a high E, which is very high. Maybe it was a high F. I can't remember. But I screamed with him with my full voice about not coming to this opera. And so when I went to soar up to that high E, because I had strained or put a tear in my vocal cord, I didn't make it. So I flubbed on that high E, otherwise the opera was a great success. But when I came home, my husband stated that it's either going to be the children and me or your career you're going to have to choose. Well, there wasn't any choice. It was my children. So long story short, I eventually had to come and go to school as an RN so that I could help. We could make a budget. My little dog's keeping me. I'm going to go out of here like this. That's better. So, I had to go to nursing school, which gave the problem with Cindy. I worked as a nurse from 1969 as a certified nurse's aide in California. And finally in 1981 I got my RN degree, which I continued. I've been a director of nursing. I've been worked in cardiovascular, ICU. I have worked in neonatal ICU. Neonatal ICU was one of my loves of my life. And I worked at a very well-renowned children's medical center here in the Intermountain West. And I was a supervisor on that floor at night, so it was a job that I loved to go to. Very stressful. Many times I had to hold babies because they had, quote, filled the ventilator. And so we would pump them full of narcotics and take them off the ventilator so they'd be comfortable and hold them until they died. And it was difficult because some of these babies we had from the time they were in incubators until they were 3 years old to go home. So that was my life. Eventually, due to the stress at home and due to the stress at work, and they closed my unit down. Thank you, Hillary Clinton, for that. When Bill came on as the president, she initiated some kind of a health care thing, and the hospitals went kind of nuts, and each unit had to show a profit. My unit that I was on, there were no profits. These children were $1 to $2 million babies every year that they were alive. It wasn't like the normal ICU. It was a subunit of the ICU, of the newborn intensive care unit. So this is just catching you up to where I am now. Eventually, I did suffer a bipolar incident. It's called nursing burnout, and very well known. Nursing burnouts are quite well known, and I suffered that. And when I talked to my psychiatrist, they said that when nurses burn out, they usually become manic. And this is what happened. So I went through a mania period, which allowed me to get a disability retirement as an RN at that time. I also went through a divorce with my first husband, which was necessary. It was very necessary. It was an abusive, emotionally abusive marriage. Though not physically, it was emotionally abusive to me. And I needed, out of self-respect, I needed to leave this marriage. I immediately got married to my sweet Tom that I'm married to now, who loves and supports me, and just, like I said, just brought me home some things from the store. And he does everything for me. I just love him so much. And he's my cowboy. He actually is a cowboy. He was raised as a cowboy, pretty much on the back of a horse. His parents would take horses in and out of the mountains, but they would punch cows, and they'd take the cattle herd and put them on different grazing pastures throughout the spring, summer, and fall. And they would have to go on a roundup and bring the cows to the different pastures, and then bring them back into town where they would put them in a corral and take care of them during the winter time. So yeah, my husband is a cowboy. Yes indeed, a cowboy. So that is my life up to present. That I stayed in this chair after my daughter died, suffered a pulmonary embolism. A year ago last December, I put myself into a rehab hospital so that I could undergo some physical therapy to learn how to walk again. And I was able to learn how to walk again, but once I got home, then the depression got a hold of me. I didn't have my little dog. I had my Maggie, but Maggie was not. She was another Morkie, beautiful little girl, but she had a lot of issues from living with somebody else. She was found in a drug home in a cage, and she had a lot of psychological issues. Finally, I put her up on Rehome. I had purchased Benji, and Benji had come. See, he knows when he's on the camera. So Benji had come, and I was hoping that they would play, and she didn't like him, and I was still having problems with Maggie, so I decided to rehome Maggie, and I found a beautiful couple that took Maggie in. Also, a year ago in December, I sent Cindy's dog and another poodle that I had to be rehomed to Poodle Rescue, because I had 5 standard poodles at the time, and I had Maggie. So we had 6 dogs at our house, and the poodles were just too much. Her poodle, the poodle that my daughter had, it was her puppy. My dog Marley, who has just passed away this February 22nd, was his daddy. We had a white standard poodle who was the mother, and she passed away a few years ago from cancer. But he was a singleton. He was the only puppy in there. She delivered him, named him Zeus, and she taught him everything. Now, my Cindy was a professional dog groomer, just like June the groomer is. And her specialty was standard poodles. And she was the only groomer in the upper part of my state that knew how to groom standard poodles. And she could groom them with any cut. You name the poodle cut, she could make it. We have a black standard poodle named Marcel, who's just completely coal black. And when we got her, she groomed her into a show clip, except for the pom-poms. She turned those and put those into hearts. So she made these beautiful hearts right on the hips where the pom-pom's supposed to go. And then she put a little red ribbon right through the middle of the heart that was clipped into the hair. And then Marcel got a red jingle bell. And she is such the proud princess when she gets all fixed up. So Cindy took care of all of our standard poodles, and when she died, and I am stuck in this chair. You saw it in the previous videos how I was able to walk. So me being able to stand up and groom my dogs, I know how to do it, but the ability, the stability and the ability is not there. So I think this is a good start to my video, And I'm going to just end it right there. What I am doing now is that now we are down to 3 standard poodles in our house. One of them belongs to a renter who is renting the downstairs. And usually the dog is with him, or he goes to work with him. So I just have my 13-year-old Bo, who is my service dog, who's, like I said, undergone service training, certified service dog, but he's gotten sold. He's forgotten that. We have Marcel, who was our black standard poodle, and then we have my little Morky Benji. Now, one of these days, Bo is going to go over the Rainbow Bridge and be with Cindy and Marley, and that's okay when that happens. We're not going to encourage it, but he's doing really well right now and acting like a puppy. But when he chooses to do that, it's going to be okay. With the death of Marley, we're doing a lot better. We were able to get through that, though we did mourn for a day or two, and we did go through this grieving period. I have gotten a physical therapist back again. I had to lose 40 pounds. Last June, I went to a weight loss doctor and started on a keto diet. I've had problems with the keto diet, as I said before, because of not having a gallbladder, and hopefully with these enzymes, these biles, that I'm going to be able to go back on the keto diet and continue and lose weight at a faster rate than what I've been able to. And we will talk to the weight loss. I'll keep you up to date on that. But for now, this is Janet's Place logging off. Bye.